few years ago, I was working as an Agile consultant for one of the largest banks in the United States. The bank was moving from traditional waterfall to more Agile practices. I remember one day in one of my Agile trainings, one of the attendees, who happened to be the manager of the 25 people group I had that day, stood up and with an agitated voice said, "Agile will not work here. You don't understand. We're different." Right there, I noticed his resistance to me in front of everyone. Rather, at that moment, I felt a threat to my ego. I was the Agile expert, and someone was challenging me in front of everyone else. For a moment, I thought, whoa, this guy is a saber-toothed tiger, and he's about to eat me. But no, it was a human being who had a different opinion, a different experience, a different story about Agile. Yet my brain reacted like my life was in real danger. I was in survival mode, full of adrenaline and cortisol. Fighting to be right is the easiest reaction to prevail in the moment. My reactive brain was hyper-focused on being right. I looked for examples to justify that Agile was the right way and Waterfall was the wrong way of managing projects. I even said, hey, the bank already made a decision to move to Agile, so you have to comply with it. Yes, I know, it sounds like pure contempt. In hindsight, that was not the right thing to do, I admit. In fact, that was a horrible way to handle the situation. I failed to manage myself. I failed to manage myself to be present and in the moment. I failed to rely on my frontal cortex instead of my amygdala. And believe me, it didn't take me long to figure it out. I discovered what triggered my reactive brain, and that was a big aha moment for me. This was not the only time I experienced resistance from people all around me. The fact is that as an Agile coach, resistance became the norm. Resistance to change was everywhere, in many different degrees. Why? I asked myself. I became aware of these behaviors, these patterns, and with lots of practice, I learned to identify certain behaviors by simply having a short conversation with someone. Behaviors that sounded like gossiping, contempt, blaming, victimization, defensiveness, and others. Based on those many experiences I had in all my coaching career, I was able to compile a list of phrases that are usually attached to a reactive, fearful mindset in the moment. These are some of those. Agile will never work here. We are different. Welcome to our world. This is just theory, textbook, but reality, it's much different. The team needs coaching, but I don't need coaching. You don't understand. Yes, but yes, I hear you, but I'm going to ignore you. John is such a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't get it. Or John, I'm sorry. John is a smart guy. He's very intelligent, but you're so lucky. That never happens to me. Everyone in this room believes and thinks what I say. And even some more generic ones, some that maybe you can hear outside the corporate world. That if I only had this, if I only had this new job, car, house, husband or wife, I will reach happiness. Yes, this may sound like something coming from a victim or somebody that feels powerless. We spend most of our time below the line in a survival mode, protecting our ego and self-esteem. I'm not suggesting that every time you hear someone saying these phrases, you think that person is a reactive person. What I'm suggesting here is that these phrases are like nuggets. Next, to explore what stance a person is coming from, how they show up, how they deploy themselves into a particular situation. Now, the $1 million question is, how do we want to respond to whatever triggers us? Blaming, gossiping, triangulation, defensiveness, passive-aggressive behavior are very unhealthy reactions triggered by a reactive brain in the moment. So instead of blaming others, ourselves, or anything for that matter, we can take control of how we respond to each situation. We tend to take the easiest path to deal with friction, which is looking for blame outside and not taking responsibility. So instead of letting ourselves at the effect of something external, we should take 100% responsibility of whatever is going on around us and how we respond to that particular situation. Based on this principle of taking responsibility, as a coach, I learned to identify systemic patterns in every single organization I work for. I realized I had to change my strategy on how to deal with these relationships and these behaviors because reacting was not leading to any positive outcome. A manager I worked with a while ago, let's call him Sean, was in charge of delivering software projects. Sean was very reactive. He lacked the ability, skills, and the courage to stop and think before acting. He was a prisoner of the urgent, the doing, the deadlines, the being perfect, the being super busy to validate his worthiness. He will set up fictitious deadlines to the development teams because he thought pressure was needed to encourage people to work hard. He actually believed that people could not be trusted, that people were intrinsically lazy, and so they needed to be controlled, watched, pressured, measured in order for them to move forward. Reactively, he will pull everyone to work extra hours and on the weekends in order to deliver the project on time. He will send emails outside of a few hours and expect people to respond immediately. And in the end, when the project was delivered on time, regardless of the quality, he will take the credit, be recognized and promoted because of his extraordinary efforts and dedication as a great leader, as a great project driver. The systemic pattern here of lack of vision, planning, stressing everyone around, pushing people around, and delivering a project on time without even thinking about the outcomes was rewarded by the company with public acknowledgement, recognition, and promotion. What do you think was happening in Sean's head? What was his internal story? Probably Sean said this was a positive behavior that led to awesome outcomes. Hey, every time I act like this, I get rewarded. So guess what? I should continue acting just like this. Little did he know he was destroying his relationships with the employees and impacting their lives considerably, making himself an undesirable leader to work with. To simplify this behavior, it was like he was given a cookie as a reward for his unhealthy and reactive leadership behaviors. And he was totally oblivious of the impact to the teams and the organization he was causing by introducing this toxicity into the system, into the organization itself. Definitely, the organizational culture did not help here either. Sean could have had other options. instead of just reacting the way he did. The more I saw these reactive minds on others around me, the more I looked myself at the mirror. As a coach, as a leader, I realized one thing that was an absolute truth. I had to take responsibility and change the way I was interacting with everyone around me. How can I change my reactive mind in the moment? I asked myself. Well, I learned that by recognizing my impulses within me, taking a pause, and having options to respond was my 1, 2, 3 steps to move from a reactive brain to a creative brain. By observing my own patterns and practicing being present in the moment, I became more present to others. I learned to self-regulate. I learned to anticipate my impulses and having options to respond to each situation in a way that was outcome-focused, creative, and also helped bring awareness to others in a healthy and effective manner. Yes, I let go of control. Amazing. And the need to be the expert. The need to be right. To always advocate for my points. The need to always play in the safe zone. I ask myself, what do I have to lose by letting it go? Nothing. And if you think all these things I'm telling you are fuzzy feelings, kumbaya stuff, you don't give a dime because you are a tough person wearing a professional mask who only cares about getting things done, then probably this video is not for you because you're not ready to evolve into something bigger than your ego. I'm sharing my story here because, quite frankly, I believe that leaders need to grow out of their reactive brains into creative brains if they want to lead others. This is not about getting a certification of leadership that says, you are not some leader now, you gotta stop learning. There are new challenges every day that will help us learn and grow. This is a journey to learn about ourselves and others, a journey to enjoy. At any moment, all people can play the role of a victim, a persecutor, or a hero. But when they become acting like this unconsciously, most of the time they actually become victims. If we play the role of a victim or a blamer, we will end up becoming one at work and everywhere else. So, what is the moral of the story here? No matter how much Agile training, new Agile processes are implemented, new roles created, in a reactive organization where leaders or employees are most of the time operating in a reactive mode, Agile will have little to no positive impact. Neither will be embraced nor sustained by anyone. Organizations and managers believe that by training the teams in Agile processes, roles, and how to run a few Agile meetings here and there, the organization will be more effective and efficient. This is a fallacy. Yes, those trainings are necessary, but they're not sufficient to survive and thrive in a VUCA world. A world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. A true Agile transformation, or any transformation, requires horizontal development of skills, processes, as well as vertical development of people from a reactive brain to a creative brain, and especially from their leaders. So what do I mean by vertical development? Personal development is number one. is the I. It's the ability to look within and understand ourselves, then use what we learn to make good decisions and be more in control of our lives. For example, self-awareness and self-management. Number 2, interpersonal development. This is the we, the ability to take perspective that allow us to keep in mind that each of us is not a me, but a part of an interconnected we as well. For example, experiencing collaboration and embodying new behaviors as well as improving interpersonal skills. The third one, system dynamics. This is the all of us. It's the ability to understand how different systems and teams influence one another within the organization. Their behaviors, their inputs, outputs, patterns, interdependencies, flow, and feedback loops. Well, we upgrade our computers and phones operating systems several times per year, even several times per month now with the smartphones. But when was the last time that you upgraded your internal operating system so you can deal with new emerging circumstances, challenges, and opportunities? So upgrade your operating system from a reactive 1.0 to a creative 3.0 and beyond. Start by taking a free personal leadership assessment. Visit www.consciousagile.com. Thank you.